The fake Bhutanese refugee scam continues to intrigue the nation as Nepal police submitted its final report to the District Government Attorney Office yesterday, with recommendations to prosecute 33 alleged culprits, which include political bigwigs. The police have fixed the total amount involved in the scam at around 275 million rupees, based on the complaints filed by 113 victims who were shown the dream of reaching the United States as refugees. Good morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. Kathmandu metropolis poised to challenge the trend of most local levels, depending largely on the grants allocated by the center in the new budget. Reservation victims in Kantipur waiting for more than 2 decades for their appropriate management. The problem persists even after forming the task force on 31 occasions. Hundreds of people rally in Pakistan-administered Kashmir to protest arch-rival India's decision to host a G20 tourism meeting. 5 nations along with China oppose the meet. And 4 Kava Women's Volleyball Challenge Cup matches lined up for today. Host Nepal to face Bangladesh. Nepal eyeing to secure second consecutive win after outclassing Kyrgyzstan. Discussions on the government's policies and programs, which started from last Sunday at the House of Representatives, will continue today as well. Lawmakers presented their thoughts in favor of and against the government's policies and programs at the second session of the budget discussion at the House of Representatives yesterday. Chairperson of CPN Unified Socialist, Madhav Kumar Nepal, opined that the government needed to work to find solutions to the current economic stalemate and earn the public's trust. Lawmakers of the ruling Nepali Congress and CPN Maoist Center claimed that the proposed programs and policies were relevant to current time, while opposition lawmakers opined the proposed programs would not be able to address the looming economic crisis. Meanwhile, at today's meeting of the National Assembly, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal is scheduled to furnish answers to questions raised regarding the government's policies and programs. While most local levels depend largely on the grants allocated by the center, Kathmandu metropolis is poised to challenge the trend as it prepares for the next fiscal year's budget plans. The federal government managed to collect just 54% of its target revenue in the 10 months of the ongoing fiscal year, which amounts to 756 billion rupees. This resulted in the government reducing its budget for the next fiscal year, including the grants allocated for local levels. However, despite the ongoing economic slump, Kathmandu metropolis managed to collect substantial revenue in the same period, which has been attributed to its tight revenue policies. The metropolis that had allocated 25.41 billion rupees for the ongoing fiscal year is preparing to raise its budget for the next fiscal year. Kathmandu metropolis has collected over 925 million rupees additional internal revenue compared to the previous year. The metropolis had aimed at collecting 4.85 billion rupees, of which it has already collected 4.386 billion rupees. The metropolis has also received 1.143 billion rupees under revenue distribution among federal and provincial setups this year, which was 764 million rupees last year. It has raised around 978 million rupees in taxes related to properties. Provincial and local levels are doing legworks to finalize their programs for the next fiscal year based on the grants allocated by the federal government and the size of internal revenue collected in the ongoing fiscal year. Local levels receive equalization grants. However, there are doubts on whether local levels in rural regions are aware of the minimum requirements to be eligible for the grants. For instance, the Bishnupur Rural Municipality of Saptari is receiving an equalization grant of 93.9 million rupees for the next fiscal year. Likewise, Annapurna Rural Municipality of Kaski is receiving 98.9 million rupees. However, chairpersons of both the local levels are unaware of the scale of budget it will receive and the purpose of it. The federal government allocated grants for local levels on 4 different headings on the recommendation of the National Planning Commission. For the next fiscal year, the Natural Resources and Financial Commission has allocated 87.35 billion rupees. However, the lack of knowledge on the criteria for equalization grant has had a telling impact on the grants that local levels reach out for. Most of the budget allocated by the Commission goes to metropolises. The Centre has even gone on to reduce the 13% budget for the metropolises after it was understood that 34 local levels could receive less than 65 million rupees. 16 of the rural municipalities in rural, mountainous and hilly regions are receiving less than 70 million rupees in equalization grant. The local levels are responsible for looking after human development, economic and social development indicators. However, due to lack of knowledge, the local levels have failed to demand for budgets to develop their regions. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces, how has the government dealt with the issues raised by lawmakers at the parliament? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
भ्रष्टाचारीहरूको बारेमा हिसाब खोजखात गर्नुहुन्छ कसैले चाहिँ सुनवाई गरिरहेछ कसैले सुनिरहेछ छैन
जुन कुरा उहाँहरु भन्नुभएको छ त्यसलाई लागू त गर्नु पर्यो नि
मिटर ब्याजीको कुरा खाली गर्ने संसदमा
नागरिकताकै बारेमा छ सबै संसदबाट पारियो त्यो भन्ने सुनेको छ तर सुविधा केही पनि देखेको छैन
कुन महत्त्व दिने भन्ने कुरामा गोलमटल पार्दिने सांसदहरूले कुरा उठाइरहेका छन्
कार्यान्वयन त एउटा पनि भए छैन हाम्रो नजरमा अहिलेसम्म
सानो सानो अवधिको सरकार बन्छ एउटाले एउटा नीति ल्याउँछ अर्कोले त्यो नीति बन्द गरिदिन्छ
कतिपय जायज कुराहरू सदनमा मान्यज्यूहरूले उठाउनु भएको छ यसलाई चाहिँ सरकारले अहिलेको सरकारले महत्त्व नै दिएको देखिन्छ
सरकारले धेरै कुराहरू चाहिँ संसदले उठाएको कुरा चाहिँ गर्यो भने देश चाहिँ धेरै राम्रो हुन्छ
विषयवस्तु त राम्रो उठाएर छ उलाई त अब कार्यान्वयन गर्ने व्यवहारमा लागू गरिएको छैन
संसदले उठाउनु विषय त राम्रै उठाउँछन् सरकारले कति पनि प्राथमिकता दिँदैन
सरकार त्यति गम्भीर भए जस्तो चाहिँ मलाई अनुभव भएको छैन
गर्ने भए त आफ्नो नीति कार्यक्रम अनुसार चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्दैन
कृषिका योजनाहरू त बोलेका छन् गर्ने भनेका छन् अब सरकारले खास प्राथमिकता दिए जस्तो लाग्दैन मलाई
बोलीकै ठेगान नभएको सांसदहरूले बोलेको कुरा के सम्बन्धन होला
कुराहरू उठाइरहनु भएको छ तर यो चाहिँ सरकारले चाहिँ यसो नजर पुर्याएको जस्तो चाहिँ मलाई लाग्दैन
संसदमा चाहिँ किसानका लागि मल खाद्यान्न ल्याउँछौँ भनेर चाहिँ 10औं वर्ष भयो हामीले सुनिरहेका कुरा बर्खा आउँछ मल बिउ किन्न गयो आउँदै पाइदैन छैन भन्छन्
Nepal police, after arresting 16 alleged culprits in the fake Bhutanese refugee scam, have concluded their investigation on the scam and submitted the final report with recommendations to the District Government Attorney Office. The police investigation was carried out and a 150-page report was submitted yesterday to the District Government Attorney Office with recommendations for action against 33 defendants, including 16 that have been arrested and 17 that are still absconding. 113 victims who were shown the dream of reaching the United States as refugees filed 23 complaints as a group. On the basis of the complaints, the police have recommended to file case against the 33 individuals, collect around 275 million rupees from them, and demanded jail sentences. The case started when 2 victims had filed a complaint at the Valley Crime Investigation Office. The police then first started the investigation against former Deputy Prime Minister Top Bahadur Raimaji, former Home Minister Balkrishna Khan, Secretary Tek Narayan Pandey, among other high-ranking officials, on crime against the state, organized crime, among others. The main masterminds of the scam, Sanu Bhandari and Keshav Dulal, were arrested on 26th of March. 2 weeks after that, another individual linked to the scam, Sandeep Sharma, was arrested by police. The authority to file the cases against the alleged culprits of the scam on the recommendation of the police now lies with the District Government Attorney Office. We'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. Welcome back. The families of reservation victims of Kantipur who were displaced during the area expansion of the then Suklafata Wildlife Reserve have been waiting for more than 2 decades for their appropriate management by the government. During this time, the government formed the task force on 31 occasions, however, could not come up with a concrete plan, and the 2-decade-long struggle of the reservation victims still continues. Among the families living in the Dhaka camp in the southeast part of Kanchanpur's Suklafata National Park since 22 years is a family of Sita Devi. Her husband disappeared from the camp 12 years ago, and his whereabouts is still unknown. Her son and daughter-in-law work in India as laborers while she lives a struggling life in Dhaka camp. Husband and daughter-in-law of 80-year-old Jalu Rokaya, who also lives in the same camp, died in the camp. Her son and grandsons are living in India. The government displaced the local residents 21 years ago and on other occasions while expanding the then Shuklafanta Wildlife Reserve. Out of the displaced, 5,200 families have been compensated with land, while hundreds of families are still awaiting for proper management. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. Why has the provision of providing 10% beds at hospitals free of charge not been implemented? Your options are A, lack of monitoring, B, defying the law, and C, not aware of the provision. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the international updates. Hundreds of people rallied in Pakistan-administered Kashmir yesterday to protest arch-rival India's decision to host a G20 tourism meeting in its part of the disputed Himalayan region. New Delhi is hosting the key conference in Kashmir's summer capital, Srinagar, from yesterday till tomorrow, a move which Pakistan and longtime ally China have opposed. Several protesters demonstrated in Muzaffarabad, capital of Pakistan-administered Kashmir, and other cities. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari visited the region and addressed Kashmir's Legislative Assembly yesterday. He termed the G20 gathering as illegal and an attempt by India to seek legitimacy over its control of the disputed region. Foreign Minister Zardari also said India is misusing its position as G20 chair and urged the world to take note of New Delhi's gross human rights violations since India scrapped Kashmir's special status in August 2019 and converted it into a federal territory. The G20 Tourism Working Group meeting is the first international event in the region since the conversion. U.S. top Republican Kevin McCarthy has called his latest talks with President Joe Biden on the debt ceiling productive, but no deal has yet been reached. The House Speaker told reporters that he believed a deal can be reached on this issue. The tone appeared to be more optimistic after weeks of divisive partisan discourse. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has reiterated that the U.S. will likely default on its debt by 1st of June next month. The debt ceiling is a spending limit set by Congress which determines how much money the government can borrow. Failure to raise it beyond the current cap of roughly $31.4 trillion by June could result in the U.S. defaulting on its debt. That would mean the government could not borrow any more money or pay all of its bills. It would also threaten to wreak havoc on the global economy, affecting prices and mortgage rates in other countries. McCarthy said the source of the stalemate between Democrats and Republicans is the same as it has always been: spending. But while recognizing the differences, he said the tone was better than at any other time. We have more news coming up, but right now it's time for another short break.
Sports news.
Nepal are up against Bangladesh today in their second match of the ongoing CAVA Women's Volleyball Challenge Cup tournament. The Group A match is scheduled to kick off at 3 this afternoon at the National Sports Council's covered hall in Tripureshwar. Nepal, who are aiming to secure a hat-trick in winning the tournament, are eyeing to secure their second consecutive win in this tournament after outclassing Kyrgyzstan in 3 sets in their first match yesterday. In a match that just concluded a while ago, India overpowered Kyrgyzstan with a straight sets 25-17, 25-8, 25-8 win in another Group A match held this morning. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka will play against Kazakhstan in a Group B match that is scheduled to kick off at 12:30 p.m. Likewise, today's last match between Group B teams, Uzbekistan and the Maldives, will start at 6 p.m. A total of 8 teams are participating in the Kava Women's Volleyball Challenge Cup tournament. Nepal are in Group A alongside Bangladesh, India and Kyrgyzstan. Likewise, Group B consists of teams from Sri Lanka, the Maldives, Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. Three-Star Club are facing Nepal Police Club at the Martyrs Memorial A-Division League today. The match is scheduled to kick off at 3 p.m. at the Anfa Complex in Saddabato, Lalitpur. Three-Star are in the 6th spot of the points table with 26 points from 19 matches, while Nepal Police are in the relegation zone in the 12th position. In another match today, Saddabato Youth Club will play against Kumaltar Youth Club at the Datsra Stadium in Tripureshwar. Saddabato are in the 4th spot of the league table with 29 points from 19 matches, while Kumaltar are at the bottom in the relegation zone with 18 points from 19 matches. Okay. And it's time now for the weather update. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.